We are living in the last days, and this parable reveals the believer's responsibility before the second coming of Christ. Pay attention. Matthew 13:34 reveals the end-time responsibility of every believer. And this responsibility is hidden in a parable that has the utmost importance. Verse 34, for the Son of Man, that's Jesus, is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. So the Son of Man, that's Jesus, and his far journey is when he leaves earth to return to the Father in heaven. But look at what he does. He gives authority to his servants, that's you and me, and to every man his work, that's also you and me, and commanded the porter to watch. To watch for his return. Now, a porter is a doorkeeper or a gatekeeper. And in the Old Testament, a porter was put outside of the temple gates or the city gates to make sure who entered into the city or the temple was authorized. So essentially, they guarded the door and they watched who was coming to the door. A porter was a type of watchman, which is why Jesus commanded the porter to watch. So now look at what he says in verse 35. Watch ye therefore, he's talking to you and me, for you know not when the master of the house comes. And so right here, Jesus is revealing to us that we are called to be end-time watchmen or porters who watch the doors for his return. Now here's where it gets interesting. Mark 13 verse 28, it says this, learn a parable of the fig tree. When her branch is yet tender, meaning when it begins to produce new branches, and that branch puts forth leaves, new leaves, you know that summer is near. Look at verse 29. So ye in like manner, or in the same way, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. Remember, the porter is commanded to watch the doors. And so essentially, Jesus is telling us that when we see these things come to pass, this is an indicator that something is at the doors. And we've already discovered that that something that is coming is the second coming of Christ. Although we don't know the day or the hour of his return, what are the things that we're looking for that indicates when Jesus is at the door? We are called to observe the signs that lead up to the second coming of Christ. This is why he says, when you see these things come to pass, know that his coming is nigh, even at the doors. And this is what the chapter of Mark 13 is about, the signs of the end. Not knowing the day or the hour of Jesus' return does not equal ignorance. All throughout Scripture, Jesus gives us the order of end-time events so that we can be completely aware of his coming. Jesus gave us a prophetic timeline of his return. Where are we on that timeline? Pay attention. In Mark 13, Matthew 24, and Luke 21, Jesus lays out a basic timeline of the end times that lead directly to his return to earth. And after he lays out this timeline, in verse 35, he commands us to watch, because we don't know when the master of the house, who is Jesus, cometh. See, Jesus gives us the timeline that leads to his second coming. We just don't know the day or hour of his return when the timeline is fulfilled. Now, Mark 13:36 tells us that Jesus, when he comes, he's coming suddenly, and he better not find us sleeping. And one aspect of going to sleep means that one is completely unaware of the timeline of events that are taking place right now and those events that are to come. And there are many false doctrines out there that are putting people to sleep, making many Christians unaware of what is about to come. Saying Jesus has already come, you're sleeping. Saying that Matthew 24 has already been fulfilled, you're sleeping. Waiting on a pre-trib rapture. Now let's go over the four main points of this timeline. You have the beginning of sorrows, you have the tribulation, you have the day of the Lord, and you have the second coming, which leads to the millennial reign of Christ. Now the beginning of sorrow speaks about earthquakes and disease and wars and Christian persecutions. And let me just be frank with you. We're not waiting on this to happen. We are not waiting on another earthquake. We are not waiting on any more diseases, although these things will continue. And so the next event on the timeline is the tribulation. Now there's three types of tribulation that will be going on during the tribulation, if that makes sense. You have Jacob's trouble, or the Jewish persecution that is coming. Jesus spoke about this in Matthew 24, verses 15 through 28. You have Christian persecution, which will be global. Revelation teaches us that the Antichrist will make war against the saints and overcome them. And then you have the tribulation that the world will experience. Now, the tribulation that's coming upon the world is found in the seals of Revelation 6. In the first seal, the conqueror, who is the Antichrist, goes forth into the world to conquer the world. In the second seal, peace is taken from the earth, and conflict on earth will be the worst that it's ever been. The third seal, there will be inflation, famine, and economic collapse. The fourth seal, 2 billion people will lose their lives. And the fifth seal, many Christians will be unalived and cry out to God to be avenged. This is what's next. This is what's coming upon the earth. Now, the sixth seal is an event that many Christians are unaware of. It is not the second coming of Christ, but it is an indicator that the day of the Lord is about to begin, when the 7 trumpets of Revelation will blow. Does Jesus return immediately after the tribulation, or is there another prophetic event before the second coming of Christ? Pay attention. In Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, Jesus gives a prophetic timeline of the events that lead to the second coming. And Jesus has provided this timeline for us so that you and I can watch. Because at the end of the timeline, when the timeline is fulfilled, we will know when his coming is near, even at the doors. Now, I want to take your attention to Matthew 24, verse 29, which happens immediately after the tribulation. Look at what it says here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Now, many people mistake this passage to refer to the second coming of Christ. And although it does lead to the second coming of Christ, this event is actually the signs that mark that the day of the Lord is about to begin. Pay attention. I'm going to show you something. In the verse, Jesus lists 4 cosmic disturbances that will take place. Now let's look at Joel 2:31. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. So immediately after the tribulation, but before the second coming of Christ, you have this event called the day of the Lord that's going to take place. And when you read Revelation 6, verse 12, when the 6th seal is opened, you are not reading about the second coming of Christ, but you're reading about when the day of the Lord is about to begin. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. So we have more context here. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And so what happens during the day of the Lord? Revelation 6:17 tells us, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? And then after this, the 144,000 Jews are sealed, and the 7th seal is opened, which release the 7 angels that blow 7 trumpets, which are the wrath of God. And Jesus does not return at the first trumpet. He returns at the last trumpet. Now we're going to come back to the trumpets. I want you to notice what the prophet Zephaniah says about the day of the Lord. Verse 14, it says, the great day of the Lord is near. Now look at verse 15. That day is a day of wrath. Now look at verse 16. A day of the trumpet and alarm. So the day of the Lord is the day of trumpets. Hence the 7 trumpets of Revelation. The first trumpet, a third part of the trees are burnt up, and all green grass is burnt up. The second trumpet, a third part of all sea creatures will die, and a third part of ships will be destroyed. The third trumpet, a third part of the waters will become wormwood or poisoned. The Bible prophesies about a great earthquake that is to come. And this great earthquake is going to completely alter the heavens and the earth as we know it. Pay attention. Seals 1 through 5 represent the tribulation period that is coming upon the earth. But I want to take your attention to the 6th seal of Revelation 6, verses 12 through 17. Because many people confuse the 6th seal to be the coming of the Lord, when it's really the sign that indicates the day of the Lord is about to begin. Verse 12, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. Remember that. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Now look at verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So when the 6th seal is open, you have these signs. The great earthquake will occur, the sun will turn to darkness, the moon will turn to blood, the stars will fall from heaven, and the heavens will depart as a scroll. And it's important to note that the heavens departing as a scroll and the stars falling from heaven is a result of this great earthquake. And the writer of Hebrews gives insight as to why this great earthquake will occur. Hebrews 12:26. It says here that God has promised, saying, "Yet once more I will not shake earth only, but also heaven," the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky. And this word, "yet once more," signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Now, the word removal in the Greek not only means to take something away, but it also means to change or to alter. And so the great earthquake of the sixth seal of Revelation is going to permanently alter the heavens that God created in Genesis that we've always known. And Jeremiah 4 goes into further detail concerning the desolation of this earthquake. Look at this. Verse 23, "I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form." Think of Genesis. "And void, and the heavens, they had no light." Jeremiah is not prophesying about creation. He's prophesying about desolation. And at the sixth seal, God is going to begin a reversal of his creation to bring devastation across the world. So think of this as the days of Noah when it began to flood. When the sixth seal is opened, this is the beginning of the great day of God's wrath that is to come. And this great day of wrath, also known as the day of the Lord, will lead to the seven trumpets, by which many of you already know Jesus returns at the last trumpet.